Hey everyone, this is Colin's Vlogs. Welcome back. And today I'm going to be diving into the Shudder series Video Palace and episode 8 of that specifically. And I'm going to be reviewing my thoughts on this episode. So, personally, made it to episode 8 so far, and I have really enjoyed listening to this series. And the psychological horror really draws a lot of questions and really gets you hooked on the entire series. Um, so episode 8, however, it's a whole turning point. It's so many questions that need to be answered, and really takes things to a whole new level of psychological horror. So let's dive right into it. Let's start now with a quick recap for those who have not seen or heard of Video Palace. The series starts out and follows Mark Cambria and his girlfriend Tamara on an investigation of white tapes that seem to have been causing some strange things to happen to Mark. Um, they work together in this investigation and find out that the white tapes, which have been causing these strange things to happen, may be linked to an old video store called Video Palace, which hence the name of the whole series, Video Palace. So episode 8, we follow Mark, and as he digs to discover more secrets about the white tapes and their connection to Video Palace. And up until now, we've seen Mark get more and more obsessed, and his grip on reality starts to weaken even more as this video hits a climax that really the stakes feel higher than ever. At the beginning of this episode, we find out that Kat, one of Tamara's friends, and she's also been helping out with this investigation of white tapes. She has been involved in a 6-car pileup, and she, at the time, was decoding a message from one of the white tapes that they have found, possibly a message, and she was working to decode that because that was her specialty before she got involved in the 6-car pileup. But now all of that information has been lost, and she is now in a coma, so they can't really receive anything from her. So Mark and Tamara, they decide to visit after they're like extremely worried about her, and they decide to visit her in the hospital, sit down, just regroup, think about it, what has happened, and Mark's grip on reality and his obsession starts to show when he starts to believe that maybe the white tapes do have an effect or may have caused this car accident, this 6-car pileup, because Kat is in a coma and she was in the middle of decoding these white tapes. Leads us to think more questions like maybe he's onto something, maybe he's just a lunatic. We have no idea. But yeah, they visit her, and then they decide once they leave and they arrive home, Mark walks into his apartment and finds out that he has been robbed. And this series of events, it's like making you wonder, making you think maybe these white tapes are having some sort of connection to all these strange things that have happened, because first Kat gets in a car accident, and now his apartment's broken into. It's just a series of events. It's just crazy. But his emotions start to change once he finds out that he's been robbed, and all of his information and evidence about the white tapes and his white tapes have all been taken from him. So he starts to become extremely furious, frustrated, and it shows. We start to see a side of Mark that we have not seen before. And his reaction between Kat and her coma is completely different when he finds out that all of his hard work on the white tapes is gone. We start to see Mark's obsession with the white tapes take over, as he seems way more upset about losing the white tapes than his friend being in a coma. So he starts freaking out, swearing, like flipping out, losing his mind that all of his evidence has been gone. But meanwhile, he's visiting Kat in the hospital, and he's sad, obviously, but his frustration and anger is not shown during that time, so it's a whole new emotion that we've seen come out of him. Thankfully, Tamara starts to calm Mark down, and Mark finally gets a grip on reality and pulls himself together, but which is when he remembers that Jacob Manders, a man who he had interviewed previously and had a lot of information about these white tapes, had left him a voice message the previous day. And so Mark decides to call Jacob back, and he is very surprised when Jacob doesn't answer the phone, but it's actually his daughter, Audrey, who answers the phone. And Mark clarifies, is this Jacob Manders' phone? She's like, yeah, this is his daughter. He actually passed away in his sleep last night. Mark, super shocked, doesn't know how to react, obviously says he's sorry about the loss, and she then explains to Mark that Jacob had a package for him, and that she can go get it. All she needs is his address. Audrey goes to get the package, but when she walks into Jacob's office where it had been 10 minutes ago, it is not there. It disappeared. So she claimed it was there 10 minutes ago before Mark called, but it's not there anymore. And when Mark asks what the package looked like, Audrey explains that it seemed to look like a VHS tape, an old VHS tape. So Mark started to ask, who was there in the last 10 minutes? Who has been at your house in the last 10 minutes? And as she starts listing off names, she remembers that a tall, thin man who she had thought was part of somebody's family visiting had been there around 10 minutes ago, but when he left before anyone else left. So it kind of drew a little suspicion, but she didn't think much of it because Jacob knew so many people. So Mark starts to get curious. He starts getting intrigued. He's interested, and meanwhile, this girl's dad had just died, and she's grieving, obviously. But Mark can't help but ask about the white tapes. So, he asks about the eyeless man who seems to maybe be involved and connected with this video palace. He asks Audrey if this man who she had seen has any eyes. Super strange question. She didn't know really how to act. What did you say? And he repeats himself. He says, did the man have eyes? And she says, no, I didn't get a good look at him. I didn't get to see his face. He kind of just left. And it causes Mark to think maybe this guy has stolen this package from me and this white tape, and maybe he's connected with this whole video palace thing. Now, before Mark could ask any more questions to Audrey, she has to go because family and people are waiting to talk to her, and it's a way bigger deal that Jacob Manders had died than these white tapes that Mark is so obsessed and focused with. So after the phone call, Mark goes to show his girlfriend Tamara the recording of the phone call, and she starts to lose it. She realizes that Mark's obsession is taking over, and she's trying to get him to get a grip on reality, telling him these things are not connected whatsoever. These are not involved with each other. And Mark starts to argue. How are these not connected with each other? They start getting this argument and fight, and the episode actually ends with Tamara telling, I don't know who you are anymore, Mark, and she walks right out the door. So that's how that episode ends, and it leaves us right on a cliffhanger. It gives us more questions, and leads us to wonder, is Mark losing control, or is he uncovering some deeper truth that maybe the white tapes are all linked together? It really draws so many questions and makes us want to know even more. So overall, Episode 8 feels like a turning point in this Video Palace series as we get more questions than answers, but it ramps up to the mystery in a way that makes you want to dive even deeper into this plot and story. So I am personally excited to watch episode 9 and 10 of Video Palace and see where this story goes and what happens from here on forward. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this up with that's going to wrap it up for this review of Video Palace episode 8, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.